the number one characteristic that a real man possesses. This is something that's not talked about on the internet. Not sure why. These days, especially in the whole manosphere realm, we see little boys trying to act like men, try to put on this persona and project this tough guy masculinity thing. And I get it, at the core of a man, he must be strong. He must be grounded, especially grounded in Christ, grounded in God, right? But what comes along with that foundation, being grounded in something bigger than yourself, what comes along with that, especially if you say you are a man of God, is a lightness. God says my burden is light, my yoke is easy, right? And so to be a man of God, to follow Christ, what does that mean? It means to replicate the characteristics of Christ, to try your best to be like him. And so what I'm seeing a lot these days, especially in the red pill space, is this tough guy, gotta be hard, gotta be stoic. And don't get me wrong, there is an aspect to that, of course. That's a big chunk of being masculine. But at the same time, there has to be a lightness. The yoke must be easy. You must be light, fluffy, whippy, right? And what I mean by that is bitterness, the burdens that weigh upon your back, the trials, the shortcomings that you face in just everyday life. You can't let that get a hold of you. You can't be anchored and weighed down by those things, right? You got to be able to stay light through those things. You got to be able to rise above it. And the only truly way you can do that, I believe, is through God. Right? It's a joy that surpasses all understanding. And that's why the red pill space doesn't understand that, because their focus isn't on God. And God, you got to realize he's the true creator of masculinity. He created masculinity. So we're out here, a lot of us are so focused on, what would Andrew Tate think about that? What would whoever's out there, what would David Goggins say about that? What would he do? No, man, what would Jesus do? If you truly want to, if you truly want to be your most masculine self, Christ is, how do you say that? He's the true embodiment of masculinity, right? He showcased that. He came to this earth and showcased just how to do that. So I want to encourage you guys today, man. If you're going through something dark, especially as men, I was talking about this with my boys in the War Club the other day. It's like, how often do we ever hear of, we hear all the time of men deleting themselves, right? But how often do we ever hear about a woman taking her own life? You don't hear it very often, right? It's very rare. And that's because, you can see the spiritual warfare there, right? It's obvious. Satan likes to attack men, and we've all been there, right? We as men, that's one of our biggest temptations, is when we're going through trouble, when we're going through dark times. What do we like to do? When we fall back into our addiction, back into our old ways, like we all do, what do we like to do? We like to get secluded. We like to be like a recluse, right? We don't like to show our face in public. We may feel unworthy. We may feel like, it's happened to some of the guys in the War Club, where they might fall back into an old way, an old habit, and they'll come to me and be like, "Oh, Dre, I'm not worthy, man. I might have to leave for a bit." And I say, "No, bro, that's when you stick closer with your brothers. That's when you actually lean into your brothers, right?" And it's crazy how we all feel that temptation. Satan's always trying to tempt us and make us feel like we're unworthy, make us feel full of guilt and shame, and that we need to run away. Or whether that's with your local church, I've heard guys say, "Oh, sorry, I haven't been to church in a while. I need to get my life right first, right? And it's like, no, you go to church to get your life right. You don't clean yourself before you take a shower. No, you take a shower to clean yourself. And it's the same way with your relationship with God. You go to church to get clean. You go to Christ to get clean. You lean into your brothers to get clean. And so, I say all that. And so I say all that to say this, too many men these days are carrying too many burdens. They're not staying light. They're too focused on their thoughts all the time. And always being in your head all the time, bro, that's going to make you heavy. It's going to harden you. Right? You got to stay out of your head. Unless you're some kind of I can't even say the word. It's a velociraptor. Unless you're some kind of philosopher or some brilliant mind like Albert Einstein or something, you have no business chilling in your head all day, chilling in your thoughts, thinking about them. Nah, bro. When you're stuck in your head, you got to move your body. You got to get outside. Why do you think I run all the time, bro? It feels like I'm always going through something in my life. I'm always up against something. I'm always getting tested, bro. And that's why I have to get out. I got to get out of my head, bro. And I got to stay light. I can't let these burdens weigh me down, especially me being a husband, right? I can't be dark and heavy all the time. I can't be in my thoughts all the time, or else it's going to bleed into my wife. She's going to start getting dark and heavy, right? That's why I have the World Club. That's why I have these brothers. That's why we're constantly doing challenges. This is why we're constantly out moving our bodies, right? That's the whole purpose, bro. We don't do this just to do it, just because, it's just a fun challenge. No. We're doing it because we need it as men. We got to get out of our heads. We got to get moving our bodies. God, that's how God created our bodies. He created us mind, body, and spirit. We're not just body. We're mind, body, and spirit. We're all three. All three work in harmony together. We have a challenge that we're getting ready to do right now in the War Club that involves all three. We're going to be doing it probably for the next 2 months. But that's why, man, it's so serious. As a man, if you're staying cooped up in your house all day, all by yourself, secluded, you got to get out. And I know there's that temptation there. Satan's constantly trying to tempt us to remove ourselves from collaboration, from connection. And that's the worst thing you can do. So, hey, if you're feeling down and out today, if you're feeling dark, get outside, my broski. Get out of your head. Get connected with brothers. Join the Warriors Realm. That's the free version of the War Club. Start looking for people to bless. Start looking for people and men to help, to lend a hand down to, right? Everybody's always trying to find the next best tip, the next best piece of advice to get out of a rut. And it's like the best way to get out of a rut is to help someone out of theirs. The best way to improve and to grow, to truly grow, is to lend that hand down and help the next man. So I hope you guys appreciate this message today. I'll talk to you on the next one.